Okay, if Joel's not organized, I'm worse. I have nothing, no notes, nothing. So I don't know how long you're going to be sitting here. 8 minutes. Got it. Mom said to talk slow, though. Um, in 2002, as many of you know, my husband Mark had left my kids and I. Not anything what I ever expected to happen, not anything I ever wanted to happen. But through the next 5 years, I went through the most excruciating time in my entire life. And I got that word excruciating, it's funny, from a man at Impact who was a speaker who Joel made sure I talked to because he had gone through a divorce too. And he looked at me, he said, it's excruciating. And finally somebody put a word to my pain. Yeah, it's excruciating. But Joel, I know you want me to talk about Poland, but I'm doing a little more than that. He wants to say about how people serve, how you can serve others. But during that time, this church served me. I was babysitting at the time, and you don't run a household on babysitting money. The church helped me with food, helped me go to the dentist, helped me change a tire and bought me new tires. People like Patty Blyler sent me notes and messages. And Cherie Brogan sat on numerous occasions just listening and telling me I wasn't crazy for the things I was thinking, because she had herself had gone through a divorce. And to this day, I love you all for that, because I couldn't have gotten through that without all the help. And that is how you served me. But God takes the bad, and he does bring good out of it. Several years ago in 2017, I had the opportunity to go with the youth group in Delamere and Benner to Poland. And we were going to be doing street ministry, which after going to New York with Delamere and Benner, I absolutely love street ministry. But in Poland, you're not speaking English anymore, you're speaking Polish, and I don't speak that at all. So you have a translator, so you're just happy if somebody can speak English to you. But we did movie nights, and the object of what that was, it caught people's attention, and they would come and watch a movie, which obviously talked about Christ. But it was free to them. And then the goal of the group was afterwards, we'd basically have surrounded them, and they start walking away, and your goal was to go talk to them individually. So my translator and I, that's what we were going to do. And I wanted to go this way, and she says, no, let's go this way. Well, she's the one that can speak to them, so I'm going to follow her. And there was this lady coming. And prior to this day in Poland, I had one of the worst days, because an older lady, who I expect older people to be kinder, she had made fun of us to the point that I was crying. So that evening, I wasn't really in the mood to be doing this. But we did what you're supposed to do. And this lady was walking, and that's who my translator started talking to. And she was, I don't know what, talking, like you could tell there was anger. And so I tried to talk to my translator, and when she realized I spoke English, she told me she spoke English. So that was a God thing. She was angry. Her husband was killed just a few months before that. And she was saying, how could, if if there is a God, how could he let that happen to my husband? And how could he do this? And how could he be so cruel? And how, he does not love me. He couldn't love me. And no, I didn't lose my husband to death, but I did lose my husband. And that is what I brought back to her. I said, I'm sorry for the loss of your husband. I know some of that pain. I said, it's not the same. But I said, my husband left me too. And I said, I know how you feel alone, and I know it's scary, and it's, there's a lot of feelings. And she stopped the yell, or she wasn't really yelling, but she just stopped. And she said, okay, I'll talk, I'll listen to you, I'll talk. I got to share Christ with her because I knew a little bit of pain of what she was going through. And no, she did not accept Christ that night. But her mother had been talking to her about Jesus too. She had said it. And I had been friends with her through Facebook for a few years, and she had told me she accepted Christ later. But on the whole team that was in Poland doing this, I was the only one there that went through a divorce or lost a spouse or anything like that. And I wanted to go this way, and God took us this way. He takes the bad and works it for good. Through my divorce, Joel, I still have 2 minutes. Through my divorce, I also tried to commit suicide. I didn't, because God that night spoke to me and said, who will raise your kids? And I didn't want my ex-husband to raise my kids. But through that, and working with youth, there were several opportunities that I would be brought over. Can you talk to them? And I could, because I knew some of what they were feeling. God takes the bad and uses it for good. And now the most recent, I shouldn't say the most recent, but one of the other things that I would say is more unusual is, as these guys said, Dad died in July of this year. And I was a daddy's girl. And I'm still hurting. But a few weeks after my dad died, my ex-husband's mother-in-law was dying. And Mark called me, and he said, Andrea, can you talk to Jessica? Jessica's his new wife. He said, she's hurting, and I know you can help. That's a funny phone call to make. Even though we had started a friendship, I wouldn't normally call my ex-husband's wife. But I did. It's funny how God uses things, and God brings things to full circle. So when you're going through those hard things, try to think, one, God is going to help me through this. And two, how can I help somebody else through this?